Hey, Presley, thank you for joining us here on the Aging with Grace conference video series today. And we're here today to talk about DME. What the heck is DME?
Well, first of all, thank you, Bob, for allowing me to come today. DME is durable medical equipment. It's a term that most medical professionals will use. It's your hospital beds, your oxygen equipment, your oxygen concentrators, stuff that's, that we sell at Larry's and other places here in town too.
Okay, so I've got a need for some DME. Is that something the doctor orders, or do I call you guys, or how does all that work?
Yeah, so normally we'll get a prescription in from the physician, whether it's for the oxygen concentrators or oxygen in general. We don't typically mess with as far as your hospital beds and things like that. That saves them some sales tax. But as far as that, I can do private pay, which is just us you making that payment, or we bill the insurance like Medicare, Medicaid, and your other private insurances.
Okay, so I know that some of the equipment you handle is like for sleep apnea. Let's kind of go down through some of the equipment that you handle.
Yeah, so a lot of things we do is as far as your CPAPs and your BiPAPs, there's different levels. Your CPAP's going to be that constant pressure that patient's going to need to sleep better, stop snoring, open up those airways. Your BiPAP's going to be that 2 times or that different pressures that they use there. So we do certain brands. We do, of course, ResMed. We do Luna. There's a whole bunch of different brands out there, but luckily we have quite a bit in stock to help those patients out. Okay,
so besides sleep apnea, I know that you have scooters. Is that something that Medicare pays for? Or?
They have in the past. They still do. We don't bill those to insurances. We can if the need's there. It's just harder to get those approved through that. But we do have power scooters, power chairs, whole assortment of walkers and rollers that we have in stock too.
Okay, so you mentioned private pay and Medicare, so a lot of those things, the doctor orders it. And does the doctor call you, or do I usually call you? How does that work?
Normally we'll get an order via fax from different hospitals around Northwest Oklahoma. We'll get those as far as the different needs for that patient. We'll get them plugged in the computer as fast as we can, reach out to the patient to make sure that this is the need that they want, and then we handle the billing on our side. They don't have to mess with any of that. Because different insurances, they pay different ways. Of course, the public doesn't really know how insurances work.
Right.
But Medicare, you'll pay your deductible, and once that's met, you got 80% is what they'll pay, and typically they'll have that 20% left over. That's when a patient's Medicare supplement will kick in and pick up that extra that they won't have normally any out of pocket at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know we've borrowed a lift from you before to use and just for training purposes, but is that something that you guys do a lot of, as far as the lifts that people can have in their home to lift the client?
It comes and goes. I mean, it's just dependent upon the time and the need. We handle quite a bit of that. We even do the power chairs that attach to the vehicle. We've had a run of those here lately too, that we install that right at the office.
Okay. And oxygen, of course, with COVID, has that been a tremendous thing that you guys have done, or has that increased a lot of requests for that?
It's been crazy. COVID, she's nothing to mess with, and our business has picked up quite a bit. We've increased staff there at the office. We answer the phone call 24/7. Which is fantastic for the hospital, especially the emergency rooms and weekends, and we're able to get that taken care of for patients.
Okay, and does insurance usually pay for? Well, let me ask you this question: what is non-invasive ventilation?
So that's something that's been around for quite a while. It's like a CPAP but on steroids. Okay. Is basically what it is. It's for those patients who the CPAP's not going to get them there. It blows all that extra CO2 or carbon dioxide out of the lungs for them to help get more oxygen in there is what that does. And then insurance, they help pay for that too, whether it's Medicare, Medicaid, and those private insurers as well.
Okay. And so if I'm getting, do I buy most of the services, or are most of these like does the insurance company rent them, or how does that work?
So insurance is traditionally on your oxygen concentrator, which is the home unit, your portable, which is usually those smaller tanks. They'll rent that out is what they do, typically for 36 months for oxygen. After that 36 months, then you have 24 months to where they're just going to pay us to service that equipment. Typically every 5 years they do a replacement program to where they'll have to be requalified for that oxygen, and then we come out there with new equipment at that time too.
Okay. Do you guys do much as far as training? Like you're bringing something out to my house. Are you going to train me how to use it?
Yes, we have to, because it's a rental. There's a few instances where they're going to purchase it, but we still go through a big long checklist with each individual, whether it's a COVID patient or a non-COVID patient, and we go through a checklist to make sure they understand, and then they have to show us what we just showed them on that machine to make sure it's taken care of for them.
And so I'm sure people watching this, they're going to have more questions. They can call you or call down to Larry's Home Oxygen.
Oh, yes,
ask.
all the time, yeah.
And you're not going to put the high pressure sales on them. You're just going to give them the information that they need.
Yeah, we help people whether they're our patient or not. We get phone calls all the time. I mean, we're pretty friendly staff. They can even come in if they want to, or if they prefer to call us, they can do that as well.
So kind of run down the list of services that you guys provide.
So of course oxygen's always at top of mind just because Larry's Home Oxygen. We do your hospital beds, whether it be bariatric, which is those 300 plus beds that we have there. We have wheelchairs, rollators. We take care of the CPAPs for the patients. We'll repair those in office as well. And the neat thing with the CPAPs is we even have a little room that's inside there that's confidential. They go in there, they get fitted properly with that mask by our fitters. That's something unique that we like to showcase and offer. There's a lot of things that we do for people outside of oxygen. Don't forget about our lift chairs too that we have as well.
And how about prosthetics? Do you get into that at all? Or?
We don't. We handle breast mastectomy products that we have. We have a couple of fitters that are certified through the association to do that. There's a private room for that we handle, but we don't do any prosthesis for limbs and things like that. Well,
I appreciate you being on here today, and I hope that we've answered a few questions about DME and durable medical equipment and how to contact a provider. Talk to your doctor and get that if you need it. And we thank you for joining us today. And if you have any questions, call down to Larry's Home Oxygen and get those questions answered.
Yeah, thank you again for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.